Mane fa say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there osia dem yopo.
Gentlemen, thank you. You are not being heard. 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 So if you see, we need to understand. That's why I asked the question about whether or not that apprehension has any basis. That's what Kofi Bento was detailing about what the OSP has said and certain conduct. Does that have any bearing on how things will play out in court? Can the OSP by himself act in a way that would be seen to be apprehensive?
Nobody can.
Hold on. Yes, please.
Both of you have traversed into the arena of law.
Yes.
And what Kofi is saying is that the state cannot compel him. And what Felix is saying is that he can be compelled. Indeed, if you are summoned to appear before a court of law. No, but let me develop my point. If you are summoned to appear before a court of competent jurisdiction,
Right. Yes.
that is a coercive power of the state in motion.
Yes.
You cannot say that because I'm in the appear could be I won't come.
He's never been summoned.
Wait a minute. But again, it is also the law that the state must bring to his notice that summons.
Yes.
And there are various ways of doing it. And the state must also demonstrate that notice to the accused person. And indeed, let us also establish that when you are accused of having done anything and you haven't gone through the law to be convicted, you are not guilty of that offense.
That is the principle. We all abide by it.
And indeed, in any case, as former Chief Justice said, the law is the law.
Yes.
So there is no preferential treatment
For anybody.
when you are before the law. And let us all also acknowledge the fact that Ken could not and did not participate in any way possible in punishment of anybody before the law in the last regime.
Thank you.
And he did not have that power to do so.
Thank you.
And indeed, in this era also, there is a presumption that the law court is the law court. And my good friend Felix sitting here, if I'm arrested, the best he could do for me would be to come and stand surety for my bail to be granted. Yes. And if Felix has property and they say with justification, maybe Felix will bring his property that I know Andy is my friend, he will not run away from justice and he will come. Yes. So he will stand surety. Beyond the surety, Felix cannot compel any institution to release me or keep me.
Yes.
And indeed, application for bail will be determined based on conditions set by the law.
Exactly.
And that includes also the possibility of submitting yourself to the process if you are granted that leave. And that is where the court may consider your responses to the invitations extended to you by the state. And they say that when we have extended all these invitations to you and you have not responded positively, it means you are. That may be a presumption that the court may hold. And that may go also into the determination of whether or not we have to grant you bail. And the conditions under which the bail must be granted. And these are all matters to be considered by the court. But again, when you are invited by the state security system, invitation is different from summons. You need to show presence so that if there is a need to also summon you, they will subsequently issue the summons. But if the state invites you to come, invitation is not compulsory. You may say that, yes, you have invited me to come for lunch. Your lunch could be the best, but I refuse to take it.
Right.
And I won't come. If I don't come, then the state will follow up with a summons.
Yes.
As for the summons, it is compelling. You have to come.
You can't say you are afraid, so you will come.
So you cannot say you are afraid, so you come. So I am saying that two things we have to learn from this. Ken need not have unnecessarily, if he was, in fact, and quote my words, if he had been invited or if he had been summoned, he need not have unnecessarily found circuit, excuses. It was unnecessary. If my client is summoned, in fact, I will take the summon and say, my friend, let's go. So you will be subjected to the same process as other people have also been subjected to. And I don't want to support Felix in saying that his government or he was part. In fact, everybody in the government system has a responsibility, a role to play, and constitutional. So Ken, Ken, and indeed, President Akufo-Addo himself, even in his administration, wouldn't have any influence in a criminal trial. So let's discount that one.
I see. But to the extent that Ken has not been summoned.
Well, this is what Kofi is saying. And I'm saying
last November.
No. Listen, I'm saying
8 months of talking.
A formal process has been served on the United States government.
I'm saying that if
we are looking for this man, bring him for this, and he did.
Okay, thank you.
That when he goes to the US, they will subject it to scrutiny. They will not just give him because he brought it. You have to be detailed before you respond to it.
intervention has been conditional.
Yes.
Okay.
If he has been summoned, and I also talked about notice of the summon, and if the answer is to those two questions are yes, then it means that he is rather falling foul to the law. And if he comes here, it will be the basis of the consideration of his bail application. So I'm saying that me as a lawyer, I wouldn't advise my client not to respond to this call, which is a summons, criminal summons.
I see.
But if he has not been summoned, and if the summons has been issued but not brought to his notice, and then, of course, we cannot cite him for not responding to that summons, because notice is very important in the process. But when he is notified and he comes, he shouldn't expect the preferential treatment, because that is not lawful. Yeah. So if he is arrested, then he starts a process of seeking freedom, and it is also a legal process. And in fact, he was talking about OSP and Yoko. The law. Indeed, I remember when we were crafting the Yoko law, I complained that keeping arrest mandate in private hands is dangerous. And therefore, we should submit all such mandate through the judicial process. Somebody didn't understand what I was saying because he thought that he had read constitutions, and I said that in practice, it is worrisome to place somebody in custody and the person who is determining his fate is somebody who is not knowledgeable in the law. Sometimes they don't even understand the concept of human rights, but he has power by the law. So, and when you are crafting the law with somebody in mind, you should be careful, because by the time you finish with the law, that person will not be a necessary party to the law. And this is what happened in that case.
Right.
Probably we thought that Apiakubi will be arrested. Meanwhile, now Apiakubi not necessary to be arrested. Meanwhile, it is you. So we should craft the law without any such influence. But now we have that law that has given police powers to Yoko Boss. Yoko Boss could be my mother, because he could be appointed by the president. And she comes in without any training whatsoever in law and in security. And then he has the power to arrest Apiakubi. He arrests me and subject me to bail conditions that are difficult for me to meet. Why would you blame him? You have to blame the lawmaker. So now, this is the law. The law says that when you are summoned, you have to appear. If you don't appear, they will arrest you. If they arrest you, your remedy is to apply for bail. And that will be followed through the law. If you are granted bail under whatever conditions that the court will give to you, and you are unhappy with that, you can apply. Okay. You can appeal the decision or the condition.
So it is the evasive conduct of Ofori-Atta.
The evasive conduct if the court so determines, will influence the decision to grant you bail. Either grant you or refuse you, and grant you under certain conditions. And the conditions sometimes are related to all those preconditions that preceded your arrival in court.
I see.
So it is important that once you are summoned, please present yourself. It doesn't mean that they are going to put you through any, and indeed, if they are even subjecting you to inhuman treatment, you have a right to complain about that. And you can go to court. In fact, in the case of Yoko, when you have not been brought before court, you can even go to court, summon the Yoko institution through the boss, and bring him to court. And indeed, if they are holding you unnecessarily or lawfully, you can come with a habeas corpus application and serve it on them and let the people bring them wherever they are to court so that you come and face the court and then you apply for the release. So it is not forgone that once you come and they arrest you, your freedom will be sacrificed. No. So I will advise that Ken should come. Let's go through the process. After all, after the determination, one of the possibilities in the decision will be that you are not guilty. So if it comes to the point that you are not guilty, and again, there are also provisions in the Constitution that allows you for restitution. But hardly have I seen people go through that. When you are unlawfully prosecuted, and at the end of the day, you are discharged as not guilty, you have rights that you can exert on the state.
The state should compensate.
The state should compensate you. Malicious prosecution is one of our laws. Absolutely. And also, restitution under the Constitution is also lawful. So let you not go through that and then they harass you through 10 years and then you come home empty-handed. Maybe that will be a period where the state will have to also give you remuneration to compensate you for the 10 years you have wasted in the security or in the prosecution.
I see.
So this is free consultation. But again, what I'm saying is that finally, all of us must learn something from what is happening. That if you are lucky to be appointed to a position of trust, you are only a fiduciary. You are not the overlord. So be careful. The money does not belong to you. If the money is somebody's money, make sure that you account for the money. And make sure your decisions will not bring you to face whether or not your decisions are backed by wrongful intentions. By the time you declare that one, you may have lost some integrity, some dignity, some time, some money. So when you are entrusted with public responsibility, all of us, those of us outside and inside, let us make sure. And that is the beginning of, to me, that is the beginning of development in Ghana.
Okay.
If we are all accountable and we will spend state investment appropriately, that will be the foundation for the development of the state. Thank you very much.
But Ambassador Smith, let's just get the context right, because what you said has actually been the basis for yes, please.
Yeah, let me be very clear here. You remember, I first of all wanted to go visit Ken Ofori-Atta, just to see whether he had any concerns or whatever. But I indicated a short while ago that some friends or relatives of his, I'll be very specific. I had a call from Gabby Otridako. He expressed that worry. And I assured him that he will have to go through the due process. I mean, everybody goes through a due process of law. So they're not going to be like, people are not going to attack him. We don't behave like that. He and that Ken himself, by his own doings, being evasive with the OSP arrest, have created this brouhaha around his case. So that is the point. So don't let nobody get me wrong. It was not my own view. It was a view expressed by Gabby Otridako, who is a relative of his. He made a call to me, and I said, I wanted to have an opportunity to assure him that he would have to go through the due process like anybody else goes through the due process. So that anxiety, fear, and everything was expressed by Gabby.
I see. So Gabby Otridako called you that Ken Ofori-Atta
was... Yes, he did. He thinks that his problem is that he's not sure how he'll be handled or whatever. And I said, listen, I mean, this country, nobody, you go through a due process, and that is what the Attorney General has told me. And I had wanted to communicate that to Ken if I had the opportunity to meet with him.
And after that assurance given to Gabby Ochudako, who made that call to you,
you don't need that assurance.
Did that seem to have addressed those concerns of apprehension when you spoke to him?
No, I mean, well, he knew that, he communicated. I don't know whether he had spoken to Ken, but it looks as if he was not communicating with Ken. He was in Accra and he made that call. Okay, and he thinks that is he thinks that is the worry that his cousin has. Then I said, who's going to harass him? He has to go through a process. When he arrives, and the Attorney General had told me that he'll be taken through the due process, like anybody else.
Let's see. Thank you for this very important clarification, because then it also, brings another layer of context to the issue. I'll come back to you in Savento, but Prof, I'll come to you. On now that we're getting to know a bit more detail, Gabby Ochudako, according to Ambassador Smith, made that call, actually, about Ken Ofori-Atta feeling, or he had this fear or apprehension that he might be treated unfairly, and reason why he refusing to come to Ghana, essentially. But the sentiments so expressed, that's Kofi referenced, and then the conduct of the OSP as he referenced, does that have any possibility or locus in law to influence how the process will play out against Ken if he comes, to legitimize any sense of apprehension that he has?
Well, can that influence the process? Well, you see, this, in terms of sentiment, okay, so we'll analyze from two perspectives. You are looking at what happens in the courtroom, and then you're also looking at public perception, so the court of public opinion. Obviously, Ken has brought this upon himself, right? By absconding, what he's done is that he's opened himself. Yes, so he's opened himself to so much opprobrium. People would, throw all manner of abuses, etc. at him. Because once he was finance minister, he ensured that the current governor of the Bank of Ghana, Isiama, Raymond Amanfo, etc., were prosecuted over the banking sector debacle. Yes, Ofori-Atta. Ofori-Atta, I'm saying, yes, it's him. It's him. Everything shows. It's him. Even there is a tape.
Even they are too forcing prosecution.
Yes.
Those of us who were close to the case believe that he was a mastermind.
Not just believe.
Because of
Yes.
So they have a mastermind.
Okay. Listen. Mr. Fosu, you've forgotten that Godfrey Dami admitted it on the tape. He said Ofori-Atta and Akufo-Addo were on his neck to make sure that Atuforsin is prosecuted and convicted so that there will be a rerun. So that is what Ken... Exactly. So he brought... He who lives by the sword would die by the sword. He caused this. He caused this.
Confessed, and we had evidence to that effect. You should have been removed from office.
Yes. But the tape was played here. No. The tape was played in court.
I will not say that it was right. But upon such information, if it had reached the president, you should have removed him.
By national security fees, the president. Yes, that's what we're saying. But the president was very happy with Godfrey Dami. Godfrey Dami is his beloved, this is son. That is what this Akufo-Addo likes. Also, okay, say Tiwa, Akufo-Addo likes violence. He says Tiwa. He said it. He said Tiwa violence.
Let's not digress.
Has he ever apologized for it?
You were making the point before.
He said Tiwa violence. It's Akufo-Addo who said it. You can Google it. When the violence, the violence in Nigeria,
I don't want you to digress. You were making the point.
Yes, and so Apia Kubi's point is that if Akufo-Addo had heard about the tape was admitted in evidence in court, where Godfrey Dami said Akufo-Addo and Ofori-Atta were on his neck to ensure that Atuforsin would be prosecuted, convicted so that there will be a by-election. And you know, that's a parliament that had the 138, and then Siama, the Fomena MP, had to work with the MPP. Then they got a very small, minuscule majority, right? So if there had been that by-election, then they would do a lot of machinations to get that seat too, right? So that is the record that Ofori-Atta has built for himself. So because he knows he's done a lot of wrong, that is why he's afraid. That's why. Look at the banking licenses. Apart from, look at the untold hardships. Look at how he ran down state insurance, SIC. A lot of the businesses from SIC were hived off and given to his insurance company, Enterprise. Enterprise Insurance, state insurance, they were crying. They would see you and say, cancel. Munkebi Maye. All the businesses were now being diverted from state insurance to Enterprise. We borrow, then Ofori-Atta's company makes money. The bonds. Ghana borrows, then Ofori-Atta's company makes money. So that's Akufo-Addo and his family becoming rich. That is the legacy he left behind. Please, I'm saying it. Okay. Look, Mr. Kubi, when you have your time, say yours. You can't gaggle me. Every time, be careful. I would never. Just know that you and I are different.
Okay, hold on.
Stop. Every time you want to moderate.
Hold on.
No, I'm not. No, I just want you to know that he can never change me.
Make your point.
No, he's not coming. I just want you to know that he can never change me. You are called Apia Kubi. I'm called Pebu. The two names are the same.
Hold on.
Yes, but not when I'm making my point. No, there's nothing wrong. Yeah, so I'm saying Ghana borrows, then Data Bank make their cut. Ghana borrows, then Data Bank makes their cut, the bonds. So there was an incentive to keep borrowing, no matter how the money was used. Yeah? And then in no time, we became debt-ridden. So these are the things that are driving his fears. He knows the mess he created. Look at the bonds, the haircuts. Look at the pensioners who died. Look at Kama, Dr. Ejekum. Ejekum was crying, Kama Health, etc. Look at the people who died. So he is scared because of his own negative legacy, not what anybody will do. That Keke Kabubu song, maybe we should play it. Oh, the boy, nobody, you know it, right? Nobody do. Running away, nobody do. So he knows what he's done. He knows what he's done. That's why he's running away. Please don't put this on any other person. Look, we live in Ghana. Some months ago, when the state took Abronye, very vituperous in his utterances, he would insult everybody. Yet, when the law, the way they treated him was against law, I stood up. Domlevo also stood up. Look at Domlevo. Very good. So that is it. That's our society. And yes, so why is Ofori-Atta's fear? Let's start this in. A year ago, when Ofori-Atta left, at that time, I didn't know he was deceiving us, and I didn't know Kisei Jabin saw him leave. If you play back the tape, I was against the OSP for what they were doing, because I said, the man informed the state agencies that he's going for medical checkup. What's your business with this? Check. Let's play back. You see how I defended Ofori-Atta. So I think if today Ofori-Atta comes back and the state keeps him beyond 48 hours, I'll not talk for Ofori-Atta. I'll do that. I stood up for Abronye. Meanwhile, we all know how Abronye, people were calling me on that side. Abronye is insulting IGP. He's insulted President Mahama. All that. And you see, Kwachi Fosu, minister, you see, he didn't even, he risked his position because the party hawks will say.
I publicly disagreed with the judge and demanded his immediate release.
Exactly. Yes, I think we're here.
We rein in excesses by security agents.
Thank you. So our society is changed. So me talking today, if Ofori-Atta were to come today and were to keep him, even we don't have to wait for a 48 hours to elapse. So in the Pebu number 4, verse Attorney General number 4, so for Kufu's valedictory judgment, what she said and what the Supreme Court unanimously, that the moment it becomes clear to you that you don't want to admit the person to bail within the 48 hours, start going to the court. Don't wait. The law is not that wait for 48 hours to expire. Yeah. So if Ofori-Atta, this is the promise, the pledge I'm making. Ofori-Atta comes, look, from the first hour, and this is how it shows you how our democracy is growing. We would be here, Facebook, TV3, monitoring. Yes, OSP, are you admitting him to bail? If you are not, what steps are you taking? Are we going to court? We will make sure that Ofori-Atta would enter court before the 48 hours if they will not admit him to bail. Ghana is changed. I mean, how? I can't come and sit here and say because of the things he's done, they should keep him. No. So this is fears they are unfounded if they are based on what others will do. Rather, I think it is the negative legacy he has built, the way he's enriched his family at the expense of the state. That is what is haunting him. That is what is haunting him. He now knows that Atuforsen occupies his seat. The Atuforsen, he's on tape to have told Godfrey Dami said on tape that he, Ofori-Atta, was saying that he should pursue Atuforsen by hook or by crook, etc. That is what is haunting him. The bonds, the Ken bonds, Franklin Templeton, the Ghana boroughs, then the Ekufuado's family makes money. That is what is killing him, not Ghanaians. We would not do anything like that. So he should come and face the music. And then let's repeat this story. You know the part about he refusing to see Ambassador Smith. I mentioned it last week briefly. Let's go over it. You know there's this joke. When Reagan was shot in 1981, Reagan, that's ex-president of the United States, whilst they were taking him to do surgery, on their way to the theater, he stopped and then he asked the doctors that, hey, I hope you are all Republicans. The lead doctor was a known Democrat, very popular, Joseph Giordani. I mean, forgive my accent. I don't. It sounds like Italian or that. So the man was an obvious, a very popular surgeon. He said, Mr. President, today we are all Republicans, but he was a Democrat. So my point is that Ambassador Smith, the fact that Ofori-Atta doesn't want to see you is because you're of different political persuasions. So he's scared that if his data gets you, not that you leak it, but he's just scared that something will go wrong. So Ofori-Atta is not the first to attempt to refuse help from a political opponent.
But then it depends on the kind of help. Mr. Smith, is it not? I mean, it's protocol that you were following.
But yes, it was a protocol, but at the same time, while you're with him, he may express something he would wish would be done for him, whichever way. I was going to go and listen to him and then maybe share it with the government.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to discuss. I wasn't going to discuss the merits of his case at all. It was his person and his well-being.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, I get it. I understand. We all know, but generally, sometimes it gets to certain situations, right? Kofi and the rest, and Kwachi Fosu is in PR, he will tell you, he's the president's spokesperson. There are certain times, even some questions, the comment, when they ask you a question and you don't want to say anything, if you say no comment, even no comment itself can lead... Exactly. So sometimes when they pose the question, depending on how sensitive it is, you just walk away. You won't say no comment. So Ambassador Smith, his fears are well-founded. I mean, he's human. You can't take his fears away from him, right? That's just to put that in perspective, so that those saying, no, he should have allowed Ambassador Smith to come. No, that is how he feels. Right. Exactly. Okay. Let's leave that one at that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Council, Professor Bob King on this. This is not an area where you want to play, but I seek your thoughts in the context.
You more than qualifies to comment.
You are advising about me.
No. I mean, look.
No.
Yes.
But what I mean is that we are talking about the former finance minister, and it's an area that he was active in, so he more than qualifies to.
Thank you very much. So, some caveat here, and Ghanaians should forgive me. I'm not a lawyer, so a lot of the distance.
You are smarter than most lawyers.
This and all of that. I mean, let me also say that I was one of the earliest people on record to have asked Ken to resign.
No, okay.
So
I wasn't wrong. That's true.
No. It was clear. It was clear.
Yeah. And let me also put on record that I also supported Ken's appointment strongly when it was announced. I do not run away from that. I had this considered view.
You didn't suffer the consequences of this.
Oh, of course.
Did not suffer.
I saw the signs. Actually, you were there, that Imani presentation, when we were exiting the
People
IMF
don't
program.
know the wahala we gave Ken.
So,
I led the Japanese and Ilevi and Co. So we are not holding brief. Sorry, please finish what you have.
No, I just want to give this background. I mean, we mean well for this country.
Yes.
And we feel that Ghana deserves well. So we more or less, and we openly disagreed with some of Ken's policies. In fact, I disagreed with E-Levy with all my strength. even though I don't know where that strength and what it yielded at the end of the day and all of that. So clearly, the way Ken managed the economy and all of that, and certain key decisions and all of that clearly does not put him in a certain positive light with maybe majority of Ghanaians. Okay, so as I said, I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I mean, I understand GDP much more than this thing. So that's why I wanted to leave. Let me also put that on record.
No,
I wanted to run away
but I prevailed on you to stay. I beg you. Indeed.
Yes, so and all of that. So a lot has happened, and I feel Ken missed the point significantly, especially also with the domestic debt exchange. Pensioners, we felt strongly that they could have been excluded. And the picketing at Ministry of Finance and all of that. I mean, there were, look, probably time has passed and all of that. But after, this is also the other thing I have observed. I could be wrong. In this country, anytime there's a regime change and how certain prominent cases are handled, and sometimes we hear things about weaponizing bail and all of that, again, to show people where power lies and all of that, really hasn't disappeared totally. For the little while that I've observed the space, anytime that we've seen regime change and all of that, I don't want to say probably it's the judges or whatever, but there's a certain level of perception that if you're a politically exposed person, depending on the interest, the system can be used. Even before people like your kind come to defend and say this thing, some harm would have been caused.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all of that. Our system is open to some level of this interference. You mentioned the tip and all of that, and all of that. So there is that perception. I hope that.
Okay.
I hope that as a country, as we make progress, we begin to tighten some of these things so that, look, Alfred, it's not just only that. You will see that in Ghana's politics, and also because of this apprehension, politicians hardly use the financial system, even in financing their political activities. Okay? Because of a certain level of apprehension, who is in power and how that can be used. And the reason why sometimes you see that people prefer to build a bedroom economy, okay, and keep their money in there and use it to finance their campaign rather than keeping the money in the banking system where banks will have access to that to be able to lend and all of that. So I don't know, I'm not too sure to say, but the feeling Ken has or his relatives have, I believe that cannot be discounted totally in terms of how this could pan out and all of that.
Okay.
We need to recognize that he is also a human being. He has emotions, just like all of us. I mean,
right.
And all of that. So maybe that's what I'll say. But I also believe that I'm not a lawyer, but looking at the processes that has gone on with the OSP and all of that, and whether he needed to be here before they could complete their, whether the OSP needed him to be here before he could complete his investigation and then charge him and all of that. If really he wasn't supposed to be here, or he could have done his work without Ken being here, then a lot of the press conference and around the whole thing could have been managed quite well. So I believe that some way, somehow, either from Ken's perspective and also from OSP, we have elevated this matter, this particular case, to a certain level that certainly would raise questions whether if Ken should arrive, he will be treated fairly.
Okay.
And all of that. I could be wrong.
Right.
That is why I started off by saying that I disagree with Ken, and I said much earlier that the president should have fired him because he was doing more investment banking than managing the economy. Yeah. Right. And again, you can look at all of that. So clearly, that is my position. And I felt that, in fact, Ken should have taken advantage when Ghana eventually signed up for the IMF program and resigned. On principle that, because Ken didn't want to go to the IMF, on principle that this is not something I wanted to do. And if you see the statement that was issued, it was an instruction to Ken to initiate the process. On principle, you could have just taken the position that, look, this is not what, but all of that is history now. So let's take advantage of this and let's look at the judicial system, our security agencies, and all of that, so that we see how we manage, because NDC won't be in power forever. MPP would also not be in opposition forever. I think it looks like they are failing even in opposition right now, the way they are managing things. But that's not the focus for today.
Thank you.
They should forgive me for that one. So let's manage this very well. The apprehension and all of that, for me, there is some basis for all of that in terms of how this whole thing has been handled and all of that, and certain statements and pronouncements and all of that. And of course, I haven't done any broad-based survey, but I don't think that Ken per se has considerable sympathy with a lot of Ghanaians.
Thank you very much.
I don't think so. And if it tends to be otherwise, Ghanaians should forgive me. This is what I want to say. I'm not a lawyer. Thank you.
It wasn't allowing me to string the argument well. But here's the thing. Listen, people don't appreciate what some like Professor Boppin was saying. In the early days of Ken's management, okay, what has now become SML, which is a revenue assurance thing, okay, it started with things like Kelly GVG. You know who went to court over Kelly GVG? Me. Okay? You know who led the fight against Echaba? Me. And my colleagues. E-Levy and Co., we fought against it. DDEP. Check the organizations who work with Senyo and Co. to organize people to picket and do all those things. The point I'm trying to make is that we are not people who are just singing Ken's praise and try to defend him at all costs or whatever it is. We are making points on principle. I want Ken to come to Ghana. And I'm aware, like some of the people around him, that there are suggestions that he should come. But he has apprehensions. You just heard Martin, my own colleague Martin, talk about how the business has gone from SIC to Enterprise Insurance and whatever it is. I can tell you here, Enterprise Insurance is the best run insurance company in this country. It has been for decades.
Send him an invoice.
No, please. I'm making a point because Martin mentioned their name and it's not fair. Okay, if we are going to act even on...
But this is commercial.
No, please. I'm making a point. Martin mentioned their name. Martin, the point I'm making is this. If even it is true that Enterprise won businesses, they want it fair and square. So if you take that matter to court, you will lose. So we are not afraid of that stuff. Ken should come. What I'm saying is that what happened with 1 year of belligerent talking, issuing Interpol red notices, etc., when he hadn't even been charged, you stop. When Felix and Co talk about how other people, instigated other people to do things when they were sick, that's why I'm saying don't do to others what you don't want done to you. If it was wrong then, it is wrong now. Okay. All right? So look, for whatever it is worth, I do think that Ken can come and stand trial and succeed.
Okay. Thank you.
And I hope he comes. But whatever has been done to give him that apprehension, something must be done to also deal with it.
I 30 seconds. That apprehension is unfounded.
Well, he has it. It's unfounded. He has apprehension.
Nothing has happened in this land in the last 1 year
before
that will suggest any extraordinary treatment.
Okay.
For Ken Ofori-Atta.
Right.
If it is the fear about being detained, it is normal, it is regular. The law provides for that. You see, when you are accused of a crime, the police can invite you nicely. Kofi,
thank you.
Come and let's look into this matter. You understand? The police can also arrest you. No. The police can also arrest you when you do.
The law to detain the law with kidney problem.
No. But listen. Listen to me. Listen to me.
No,
thank you. I think we are done.
Listen.
We're done. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Bento. Thank you as well. Honorable Apiakobi, thank you.
And the right thing will be done.
All right.
So
thank you.
It does not form sufficient basis for him to say that if he does that, it is as if he is raising himself above Ghanaian law. The same process that will be going through.
PENDREAM TV. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal e Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.